Hi everyone, I'm really happy to share about human-computer interaction, why it's important and how we use it. I'm Ashley F. Arroyo, and I'm looking forward to exploring this cool topic with you. Let's get started. To begin, let's think about how computers have evolved over time. We've gone from huge data centers to keeping our information in the cloud, and now we've been using edge computing. New tools like 3D printing, virtual reality, and augmented reality have significantly changed our daily lives. The first question is, what is HCI? HCI, or Human Computer Interaction, focuses on how computers influence how we work and do things. Today, computer technology includes everything from regular computers to smartphones, home gadgets, and smart systems like automated lighting. The HCI connects closely with the fields like interaction design and user-centered design. The aim is to make the technology easy and fun to use. Usability is a major idea here, focusing on how a user can complete tasks, how effective the tools are, and overall satisfaction. The growth of human-computer interaction has grown a lot since it started. In the early days of personal computers or PC, people needed a lot of training and it was hard to use them. Simple tasks like moving the mouse, the cursor, or erasing a text were not easy. In the 1980s, HCI came about to make computers easier to use and started to look into areas of information technology. And the second question is, why HCI matters? HCI, or human computer interaction, is important for making products work well and keeping them safe and useful. It improves how users feel when they use the product. It's key to have HCI expert work with a team and when creating products to avoid problems. For example, the smartphones have easy to use buttons because of HCI. So a lot of different people can use them without any trouble. And now, let's discuss the 5 applications of human-computer interaction. Number 1 is the HCI in everyday life. HCI is a big part of our daily routines. Even people who don't have a computer use technology every day with things like ATMs, train ticket machines, and vending machines. For example, the ATM machines have easy to follow instruction and straightforward design, making it simple for people to do their transaction fast and securely. And the second is HCI in workplaces or industry and businesses. In businesses, HCI is vital for creating systems that allow employees to work better and feel less stress. Good design leads to happier and more engaged employees. Business tools like management software are made to easy to use, helping employees learn fast and concentrate of their work. Number 3 is accessibility. HCI is essential for making technology usable for people with disabilities. The goal is to build systems that everyone can use safely and easily, regardless of their skills. For instance, screen readers help people who can't see by changing text into spoken words or voice, making it easier for them to navigate and use computers. Number 4 is users who are untrained. Most people today don't really read manuals when trying out new software. HCI makes sure that systems are so intuitive that they can be understood without a lot of instructions. And lastly, number 5 is other application. Virtual reality is an excellent example of HCI being used at work. It offers people fresh ideas and fun experience during job training. VR or virtual reality can simulate real-life scenarios, allowing people to learn in a practical and enjoyable way. In conclusion, human computer interaction is getting more important as technology plays a bigger role in our daily lives. By focusing on systems that are easy to use, accessible, and effective, HCI ensures that technology is useful for everyone. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I am April J. Gatchalian from BC7DA, and today I'm going to tackle the introduction to human augmentation. So, first, let's break down the word human augmentation. What does augmentation mean? Augmentation means to improve or enhance something that is already existing. So, human augmentation means to improve or add upon existing uh, our existing human body parts or movements. So, what are the examples of human augmentation? The most popular example of human augmentation in media is Iron Man. Iron Man became a superhero not because of supernatural powers, but because of his genius mind. He was able to invent something that was capable of mimicking superpowers. And because of that, he was able to go beyond the limits of human body, and he was able to fly and fight like like a superhero, but he was a normal human inside his suit. With that said, we arrived at the conclusion that human augmentation aims to improve and offer enhancement to human health and quality of life as well as performance. And so, however, let's tackle some much more simpler examples of human augmentation. Like right now, I have human augmentation, and that example is my eyeglasses. Without my eyeglasses, I am unable to see clearly because my eyes are not, I do not function very well. But through these eyeglasses, I am able to mimic perfectly functioning eyes. And this is a simple example of human augmentation. Another example of human augmentation are watches. Uh, with watches attached to our body, we are able to tell the time no matter where we are. And without them, we're not able to do so otherwise. Therefore, human augmentation doesn't have to be so advanced like the Iron Man suit. Let's break down all these different functions of human augmentation into different categories. So the first category is replicating human ability. So replicating or copying, imitating. An example is like what I said earlier with my glasses, maybe with my eyeglasses. It is just copying or making perfectly functioning eyes for me for me to be able to see clearly. And another example of replicating human ability are prosthetics, simple prosthetics like leg prosthetics, so that people without the ability to walk or people who have lost their legs are able to walk again. The second one is supplementing human ability. Supplementing means enhancing, so enhancing human ability. A simple example would be comparable to my eyeglasses are binoculars. Binoculars are enable us to see much more farther than our eyes are able to, and so it enhances our ability to see because we can see way further. We can zoom in through binoculars. And to add further into this category are nanorobots. They're nanobots. Doctors, surgeons use to perform operations on body parts that are hard to reach with your bare hands. And so they use these nanorobots to reach those hard to reach places to perform the surgery much more effectively. The third category is exceeding. The third category is exceeding human ability. Exceeding means to go beyond. So, to go beyond human ability. An example of this, in comparison again to the eyeglasses, the binoculars, and then with exceeding human ability is telescopes. Telescopes that are able to see all the way to space. Telescopes that are able to see stars, planets, because these go way beyond human capability to see as much as the eye can see, because you cannot see beyond the sky. The space is way, way beyond the sky. So this is beyond the human capability. A further example of exceeding human ability are scuba diving suits, which enable humans to breathe and stay under the water for an extended period of time, which otherwise humans are unable to do so. A really interesting example of recent advancement in human augmentation are exoskeletons, which is kind of similar to Iron Man, but it is in its early stages. Right now, these exoskeletons are only able to aid people who had spinal injuries so that they could be able to walk again. But further improvement to this could be applied to the military field and enable soldiers to be armored and be more protected while also being more capable in combat, because these exoskeletons can be attached with weapons just like Iron Man. In conclusion, human augmentation is a really fascinating topic. There are a lot of examples and applications and different fields and paths of advancement. And that is all for my report of Module 2, Introduction to Human Augmentation.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is like a brain made out of code and data instead of neurons and cells. It designed it mimic certain aspect of human, like thinking, learning, reasoning, and also problem solving and understanding, and even interacting with the world. Think, think of it as a highly and advanced tool that can process information and everything.
Machine learning. Think of machine learning as teaching a computer to learn from experience, just like how we learn from doing something over and over again. For example, if you show a computer thousands of pictures of cats and dog, it will be eventually learn to tell difference between the two by recognizing pattern in the pictures. ML gets smarter as it see more examples. Supervised learning. It likes having a teachers who gives you the right answer to practice problems. So the computer learns from the right examples. Next is unsupervised learning. Here, the computer doesn't have a teacher and has to figure out pattern on its own. And next is reinforcement learning. This is like playing a video game. If the computer doesn't something right, it gets a reward. If doesn't something wrong, it gets penalty, and it keeps trying to improve. Next is everyday use. Think about your Netflix recommendation or the voice assistant on your phone. Both of these use machine learning to get better and help you. Natural Languages Processing, NLP. NLP is all about helping computers and understanding and how to speak our language. Just like how we learn languages, AI learn to interrupt words and phrase and respond in ways that make sense to us. Even ask Siri Alexa a question. That's NLP working behind the scene to figure out what you're saying and give an answer. It also powers things like translation app and chatbots that help us talk to companies online. How it affect to us? NLP make it easier for human and machines to communicate. It in everything from Google Translate or customer service. Next, robotics. When you think of robotics, you probably image a robot doing tasks in factory or maybe even something like a vacuum cleaner. Robot at home, but robots can be much more than that. They combine AI to make decisions and carry out tasks automatically. Some robots are built to work alongside human in factories called cobots, while other like autonomous drones or self-driving cars don't need a human guide them. In healthcare, robots can even assist in surgeries, offering precision and safety. It helps us to robots help automate tasks where it in a factory in your home or even on a surgical table, making it easier and safer.
Ako po pala si Patrick Blonat, Group 7. Ang title po ng i-report ko, Module 4, Prototype. What is prototyping? Prototyping is a key concept in the iterative design process, allowing designers and developers to gather feedback, refine their ideas, and make improvement before the final product is developed and released to users. Prototyping po ay isang pangunahing konsepto ng mga na nag-aalaw sa mga developers na mag-feedback at i-improve ang kanilang final product bago i-release sa target users. These are important aspects of prototypes in the field of human-computer interaction. Number 1. Visualization. Prototypes provide a visual represent of the proposed user interface. They help designers and stakeholders to see how the final product might look and feel. Visualization, nakakatulong ito sa mga designer and stakeholders kung ano ang maaaring kalabasan ng kanilang final product. Pwede ito sa pamamagitan ng screen layout, user interface elements, and interactive features. Next is interactivity. Prototypes can be interactive, allowing user to interact with the system to perform certain tasks. Interactive prototypes simulate the user experience more realistically and enable designers to observe user interaction and gather valuable feedback on usability and functionality. Interactivity po is a kind of prototype that simulate the user experience more realistically. Sa interactive prototypes po ay more on observation kung ano ang magiging use ng product at kahalagahan nito. Next po is number 3, and feedback gathering. Feedback gathering prototypes are used to gather feedback users, stakeholders, and usability expert. Sa feedback gathering naman po, sa prototype pong ito, kailangan po pagsamahin yung mga feedback galing sa user para ma-identify if may issue ba or ano pa ang kailangan ng improve bago i-release ang final product. Next po is early testing. Prototyping allows for early user testing even before the actual develop of the complete system. Sa early testing, dito naman po sa phase na ito, isinaalaw ang developer na mag-conduct ng early testing para malaman if may problem ang product. Kasi mas ma-hassle once na ma-release ang product nang hindi na early test. Next po is iterative design. Iterative design, prototyping support an iterative design approach where designers create multiple versions of prototypes, each time refining and improving the design based on feedback. This prototype create multiple design based sa mga feedback. And it continues hanggang ma-reach ng mga developers ang kanilang desired usability. Sa last po, sa number 6, may two types of prototypes. Yun ay low fidelity and high fidelity. Low fidelity is a type of prototype na pwedeng gawin na mabilisan ang design. Sa high fidelity naman, ito naman po yung kabaliktaran ng low fidelity. Dito po is kailangan po more realistic sa mga representation, sa final product, and more detailed and sure na test muna before i-release yung pinaka final product niya. Yun lang po, that's all. Thank you po for module 4.
Hi, I am Raymond Dadak, reporting module 4 types and fidelity of prototype. Introduction. Typically, a designer determines the fidelity of a prototype depending on the stage of the design process, the available resources, and the goals for the prototype. Yung mga designer daw ay siyang nagdedetermine ng fidelity, yung kung gaano nakalapit yung isang prototype. Pero nakadepende pa rin yun sa stages, kung anong stage na yung prototype nila, ganun. Tapos nakadepende rin sa available resources. Kung paano nila gagawin yung fidelity ng prototype nila. Next. Fidelity refers to how close the prototype is to the final product. A sketch prototype is a low fidelity prototype, while a coded HTML CSS prototype has a very high fidelity. Ayun. Fidelity, yung fidelity daw is, ang meaning daw ng fidelity is kung gaano nakalapit ang mga researcher sa prototype nila. At ginagamit din nila ito para malaman kung nasusunod ba nila yung plano nila sa prototype nila. Low fidelity prototype. The goal of a low fidelity prototype is to outline a product's flow and test the usefulness and usability of its functionality. Low fidelity prototyping is a quick, simple way of evolving a design into a somewhat more tangible representation of a software product. The goal of of a low fidelity prototype is to outline a product's flow and test the usefulness and usability of its functionality. Thus, low fidelity prototypes are not as visually refined as a high fidelity prototypes. Ang low fidelity prototypes daw ay may goal na mag-outline ng product. I-outline yung product flow at i-test yung usefulness ng isang prototype, at yung functionality nito. Prototype. Hindi, okay na yan. Yung low fidelity din is quick and simple way of evolving design idea. Yon. So, ginagamit ng low fidelity is pag sisimulan pa lang yung prototype, ganun. Kasi parang mag-brainstorming pa lang sila doon kung paano yung magiging flow ng prototype nila. Yeah, that's it. Next. Uy, wait lang. There are pros and cons to creating low fidelity prototypes that a UX designer must read before beginning a project. The key benefits of low fidelity prototypes are that they are fast, easy, and affordable to create, and strongly support collaboration. However, on the flip side, most fide- most low fidelity prototypes are not clickable, and those that are have limitation. Low fidelity prototypes are not as aesthetically pleasing as high fidelity prototypes. Plus, fully understanding their functionality requires a bit of imagination. So yun na nga, nasabi ko kanina na yung low fidelity prototypes is parang ginagamit siya sa pagsisimula ng isang prototype. Parang yun nga, mag-brainstorming tapos minsan ginagamitan ng papel, yun, para ma-visualize nila, hindi fully ma-visualize, parang ma-visualize yung main concept ng prototype yun. Next. Sketch. Sketch prototype are often free-form pen and pencil drawings that map out of a initial idea. They are the most rudimentary form of prototype. UX designers typically use sketches to generate ideas and collaborate with products team. Ayun. Masabi ko kanina na isa rin to sa low fidelity. Kasi ang sketch H is, tawag dito, ginagamit siya para sa simula ng prototype, kung kung ano yung magiging idea nila. Yeah. Tsaka yun. Ito yung kasama sa low fidelity. Yun. Ito din, yung paper prototype. Paper prototyping is often collaborative, and it's a good first step before moving onto an interactive prototype. Paper prototypes are not the same thing as sketch, while teams also use them during the earlier phase of the design process. The structure of paper prototype is more defined than that of a set of sketches, while you often draw sketches freehand. Paper prototypes typically involve using stencils and cardboard to create more substantial, detailed mock-ups of various web page or application screens for use during usability testing. You can also you can also couple this with post-it notes or other paper add-ons. Similar to sketching, paper prototype is often collaborative and it's a good first step before moving on to the interactive prototype. Yun, kasi parang yung kanina, yung sketch ba yun, yung sketch is drawing, di ba? Tapos itong paper prototype naman, ginagamit siya ng papel para ma-visualize nila talaga yung pinaka-prototype nila. Kung ano yung magiging tawag dito, magiging hardware nila, ganun. Pwedeng software kasi hindi, hindi pala pwede kasi paper prototype eh. Yun. Mas useful tong mas magiging useful tong, hindi, kung kumbaga yung first step ng prototype is yung sketch. Tapos ito yung second step. Yeah, that's it. Ito yung sample ng mga paper prototypes. Parang maglalagay sila ng mga flowchart, ganun, kung paano gagana yung prototype nila. Yan. Click through prototypes. Think value screens through hotspots. Click through prototypes depict the elements on the pages of a website or the screen of an app. They link various schemes to hotspots. These prototypes are more advanced version of a low fidelity prototype, as well as simple version of interactive prototypes. Some applications help you to create prototype from scratch, while others let you upload your earlier sketch or paper prototypes, creating a digital form of, of those prototypes so you can now test and iterate your designs. Ano itong link values into hotspot? Hindi ko alam to. Okay. Parang show. So, ang click-through prototype is ginagamitan ng device. Ayan, siguro kung ito yung advanced version ng low fidelity, siguro mas mas magiging mahal na to. Yeah. Kasi doon sa unang dalawang steps ng sketches tapos paper prototypes. Yeah. Okay, next. Uy, next. High fidelity prototype. High fidelity prototypes are more aesthetically pleasing and their function is closer to that that of the final product. High fidelity prototypes are more advanced than their low fidelity counterparts. They are more aesthetically pleasing and their function is closer to that one of the closer to that of the final product. You typically create a high degree prototypes further along in the design process. Once the team has firm grasp of what they want the finished product to embody. High fidelity prototypes are sometimes better for usability testing that flow process. So yung high fidelity prototypes is Ito na yung ano, prototype na malapit na matapos yung prototype nila. Malapit na matapos yung final product nila. So, mas magiging ano na to, mas magiging skeptical, maganda lang tignan. Tapos, yung mga functionality din ng product nila is smooth na sa face na to, panigurado. Yung example of high definitive product include interactive prototype, digital prototypes, coded prototypes. Ano na, ito na nga yung mga, ano, mga ganda. At yun yung mga design na sila. Kasi ko, gagamitin na siya ng photos digital eh. Tapos interactive prototypes. Kung gaano na, kung gaano na kung ano, kung gaano na ka-interactive yung product. Interactive prototype. Interactive prototypes are more advanced version of click-through prototype that you can that can you create using a prototyping application that support interactive interactivity but only medium fidelity visual design. In in a sense, they are the communication of the process of sketching, then creating paper prototypes or click-through prototypes. Interactive prototypes are both clickable and responsive, enabling users to interact with them and see animation in response. They they more aesthetically pleasing than their low fidelity precaution. Precursors. Yeah. So ano, itong interactive prototypes, parang ano, siya yung step 1 sa ano, parang siya yung step 1 sa high fidelity prototypes. Kasi clickable na yung mga ano dito. Clickable and responsive na yung product dito. Tapos, may mga animation na din. Tsaka, sa TikTok talaga, parang ano, parang malapit na talaga siyang matapos. Yan. Yan, parang ganito. Wait lang. May step 1 dito. Ito. O, diba? Parang ito ni, nakikita, clickable na. Tapos, ayan, may aesthetic na din. May ito sa inyo talaga. May clock pa dito. Digital Prototype created a with prototyping software. The most the most common type of high fidelity prototype is a digital prototype that is developed using prototyping software that lets UX designer create aesthetically rich, interactive, and even animated product prototypes of a user interface that is almost ready for implementation. Yan. Yung digital prototype is ano, malapit talaga siya. Ito na yung ano, step 2. Yung kanina yung interactive. Parang ano, parang doon kung yung overall ng ano, overall, pinapakita din yung overall na function ng isang product. Tapos dito naman is, tama ba to? May develop ng software. So, ano, ginagamitan siya ng code, ganun. Sa flowchart bago mabuo. Create a software which graphic area animated product prototypes of a user interface system. Yeah. Ito na yung step na malapit na sa ano, ready for implementation yung product. Konting kembot na lang matapos na ganun. Ito, parang ganito. Yung mga design na tapos, teka, parang ano to WordPress Ayan, yung mga design na siya, tapos may mga buttons din sa gilid, sa taas, sa gilid din. Yun, coded HTML, CSS prototype. Creating a coded prototype is more complex because it requires the UX designer or prototyper to know how to code. How to code. These prototypes are the closest to the final design of a product and are the best option for generating feedback, user feedback. Ayun, ginagamitan ng code ng high fidelity kasi gagamitan pwede na silang kumuha ng dun ng feedback ng user. Yeah, ito na yung pinaka malapit. Kumbaga step 3 sa product. Ayan, parang ganyan. Buo na talaga siya. Ang ganda na ito. Ano to? Yung sample to. Ang ganda. Curious ako dito Yan lang. Thank you. Saan yung record? Eh, ito pala. Grabe.